Hello, my name is Joellen Bryson, and this is my final project for HSU 426 Crisis Intervention. I'd like to take a few moments, if I could, of your time to talk about intimate partner sexual violence. Um, I want to cast a light on a hidden crime. It's often called the hidden crime because sexual assault by an intimate partner, partly due to many women who experience um, marital or intimate partner assault, do not even recognize it as rape. I know while researching this, I found some things very uncomfortable because I had not myself known that that would be considered um, rape or coercion. I can't say that well. I apologize. Throughout the next 5 minutes, I hope to help you gain an understanding of what intimate partner violence is and what we can do to help survivors. The statistics are nearly 1 in 10 women have been raped by an intimate partner in her lifetime. That's either a present partner or an ex of some sort. It is not only a female crime, it often happens in same sex relationships as well. Every 68 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted. That means that by the time this video is finished filming, it will be 4 people that have been sexually assaulted. That's horrible and, quite frankly, terrifying. The scope of the issue. For this video, we will be referring to intimate partner sexual violence as IPSV. It's sexual assault by a current or former intimate partner and includes sexual coercion in teen dating relationships as well as what is formerly known as marital rape. And sexual assault happens as well as in same-sex relationships, as I said before. Excuse me, I've got my cards out of order. I apologize. Okay. So some things that keep this crime hidden are loyalty to husband, privacy of family issues. Women are uncomfortable casting husbands in a negative light. Keeping family secrets is typical of any type of domestic violence or sexual assault violence. Many women have an unwillingness to accept their own victimization. Oftentimes, acknowledging rape by a partner would only add to the painful experience, especially those who lack economic resources, social support, and job skills. So they're less likely to recognize that when they are giving their husband appeasement sex, which we will talk about later in this video, they would just rather rationalize that and say that's not a big deal. That's just my wifely duties. Because saying it is a crime, that it was victimization, would hurt their housing, their ability to help raise their children. Especially if the husband is the financial support of the whole family. So that keeps it hidden. Studies have shown that women's avoidance of the word rape or sexual assault when discussing experiences of forced sex with intimate partner and intimate relationship, meaning that women would rather not call it rape. They're very uncomfortable calling it that. While we're digging deeper, let's dig a little bit deeper to why it goes unreported. Misunderstanding about a woman's role in a marriage. I think this was a mind-blowing moment for me when I was researching this because, especially down here in the South, us women, I can only speak for myself. I was raised where the male was dominant in the family. And so, because of this thinking, I myself have thought that that's just what you do. That's your wifely duty. So when I read this, I could totally relate to a survivor's belief that the role in the marriage is their wifely duty to have sex with their husbands whenever, however, and how often. They believe they are obligated by their marriage vows to submit to all sexual acts. These acts are not rape. I think that mindset is a cultural thing. I'm not sure. I can't speak for up north, but I can definitely speak for down here. Um, some women believe they are wrong for not wanting sex, and they'll chastise themselves. Catholicism is also is prevalent to Latino culture, and religious can contribute to women's inability to escape any form of domestic violence. Many victims believe their life is the only way God wants them to be, so they just accept it as their lot. Um, there's a personal story I'd like to share that I got from Rain, and it is Tahiria's story. And she experienced rape or intimate partner violence when she was in high school. And she states, I believe it was a normal thing that had happened in a relationship. The environment that she was raised in was catered to men and boys, and it was something that was just common in her cultural background. Um, as a result of the rape, she was unable to function. She experienced shaking, anxiety, paranoia, anorexia, and suicidal thoughts. Some of the people that she trusted blamed her for what happened, and they made her feel ashamed for telling the truth. Many knew her perpetrator and chose to take his side of the story. After years, she eventually found people who were healthy and safe with whom she felt supported by. Teresa eventually started sharing her stories with others, and she blended her career as a nurse and her mission of sharing her story and advocating for other survivors to become a sexual assault forensic nurse examiner. Teresa suggests in order for a survivor to tell her story, they need to trust you. We want to be believed, and taken seriously. Intimate partner sexual violence. When you are raped by a stranger, you live with a frightening memory. When you are raped by your husband, you have to live with the rapist. There are varied forms of IPSV. The continuum of sexual contact ranging from mutuality, wanting or desired at one end, to physically forced, raped on the other end, with threats, implied threats, violence, coercion, and sexual violence in between that continuum. Partner rape is real rape. A prior relationship between rapist and victim raises the specter of probable consent. What is assault becomes blurred. IPSV survivor and partner rape gets little or no community recognition that a real crime has occurred, one that causes real wounds. It also is true that the perpetrators of ISPV don't see themselves as real rapists. They usually believe they have a right to have sex with their partners, whether consent is present or not. Preparators of IPSV may not fit common stereotypes of what rapists are. They are still rapists. Some are serial rapists, having sexually assaulted several partners several times, multiple partners over a lifetime. Anyone can be raped or sexually assaulted by their partner. Women do not commonly lie about IPSV. IPSV can have serious physical and psychological effects. It's still rape if the victim remained with, returned to, or still loved the perpetrator. The line of consent. Appeasement sex is a strategy that survivors often use to manage the abuser, to forestall physical abuse, a conscious strategy for avoiding abusive consequences. It can be clearly placed on the spectrum of abusive behavior. Pressure sex, unwanted but necessary to meet his needs. She may find it difficult, distasteful, but complies to ensure that her partner is well satisfied. Pornographic. It is a significant feature of ISPV. Often partners tell victims to act out the scenes that they had just viewed. Coercive control. Patterns of behavior that women experience as ongoing rather than repeated, which means that it's not one act, such as hitting, but it is repeated regularly, but a range of behaviors designed to be cumulative in effect. This controlling every aspect of the woman's life. The main indicators that sex is part of coercive control are that it's ongoing, it's routine, and it's cumulative in its effects. There's also traumatic bonding Stockholm syndrome. This is when is another coping strategy that is used by the survivor to attach to the positive. They attach to the positive behavior of the abuser. The survivor can become so attuned to the abuser's behavior and thoughts that she begins to almost think as he does and knows almost instinctively how to appease and manage his moods. An advocate's role. Advocates have been shown to reduce rates of revictimization, increase social supports and abilities to access trauma, enhance quality of life. Advocates are change agents. Sexual assault advocates offer legal and medical advocacy, well versed in trauma response, strong relationships with mental health workers to refer clients. Advocacy, advocacy builds relationships with various service providers in the community to address barriers to humane and effective intervention. Advocates empower survivors, offering practical assistance and resources. Advocates can normalize survivors' fears of medical procedures and encounters to teach strategies to reduce the trauma triggers in these situations. What is the role of the helper? The helper's role is to support. We are not experts. The woman is the experts of her situation. Empower her to look at her options that are best for her situation. We must separate our experiences from their experiences. Barriers. Education to the survivor of what ISPV actually is. Shame of victimization. By casting the light on the hidden crime, I hope that is one way that the shame can be reduced, because shame cannot survive in the light. Demanding the victim leaves her abuser. Sometimes that's not realistic or even what the client wants. Clinical intervention. Listen. That's seriously believe. Just because a woman's story is unbelievable does not mean it's not to be believed. Do not fail in the trap of hearing what we think the client is saying, like what we believe in our minds is happening. Open-minded questions, paraphrasing, clarification, and summarization. Work carefully to avoid facial features, facial expressions, and reactions which could be seen as judgmental. Assess. Processing the information in order to formulate an accurate picture of where the needs are unmet and where risk is present. If we fail to listen correctly, we may miss signs that place the survivor and others at risk. Plan. Safety planning is extremely important. Referrals to medical and legal agencies. Other support, such as counseling and mental health. Planning should be collaborative process between you and the client. If you take control, the client will feel disempowered and dependency may occur. Commit. Have the client commit to the plan. If you have collaboratively worked with your client, they will more likely commit to the plan because it's their plan, not your plan. Trauma model. We must understand through our own understanding, help inform the survivor that the responses she has been experienced are normal responses to trauma. Talk with the survivor about how the trauma is manifesting itself. This could be anxiety, depression, substance use, compulsive behavior. Reassure her that this is normal, that this is how she is coping with the trauma she's experienced it. We must recognize that home is not safe. Maintain a holding pattern of offering support while the survivor looks at her options. The chance of re-victimization after stranger rape is low, whereas a chance of re-victimization and consequently re-traumatization after partner rape is high. If you suspect a woman or person may be suffering from ISP, you can practice these 4 steps. Ask, are you safe in your relationship? 2. Name intimate partner sexual violence. What you've described to me is rape, and it's a crime. Respond. Give contact details to local sexual assault service, domestic violence service, police, and child abuse unit. Follow up. Say, last time we spoke about your safety, I'd like to know how you're doing now. ISPV is any form of unwanted sexual activity with current and former inmate partner that is without consent or due to the use of forced intimidation or threat, direct or implied. IPSV may be experienced with or without the presence of physical violence in the relationship. I hope this talk has been able to educate and inform the viewer what IPSV is and shed a light on a hidden crime. I believe the more that we talk about this, the more that we educate women, the less likely we are for it to remain hidden. Like I stated earlier, a lot of this information that I researched, I could completely relate to, and I never one time would have addressed it as a crime. Did I like it? No. Did I know that I could be suffering trauma from it? No, I did not. And I figure if I'm one among many, then there's a lot of other women out there that's having this same thing happen to them and not having a voice to be heard or healed from. The main points I wish to go over are 1 in 10 women have been raped by an intimate partner. While this has been going on, we're at 16 minutes now. We're right at about 13 people have been violated sexually in some way. I appreciate you taking the time to view my video, and I apologize I ran over. I had not realized how long it would take. Thank you, and have a blessed night.